Hello and welcome to another video. My name's Jess and I'm in the woods. It's been raining on and off. It's a little bit windy, but that's fine. That's not a bother at all. And I just thought I would share with you my tarp setup and basically a really cool way to set up a ridge line that means that you can adjust your tarp without having to actually undo knots and have a faff basically. So I've actually set my tarp up using a toggle and a Prusik knot, and these are fantastic because if you pull them that way they maintain position and you can create a lot of tension, but they slide across the ridge line very easily. So they are a fantastic knot to use for this configuration. So this particular configuration is quite good because there's enough room for me to sleep. I've been sleeping under there for 2 nights now. There's room for a fire pit and there's also room for a little seat under there as well. So depending on the kind of tarp you have, whether it's grommets or eyelets or tabs like this one, this technique will work for securing any kind of tarp. You just need to follow the steps that I'm about to show you now. So in order to make a Prusik loop, you need a small piece of cordage, probably only about that long. I'd say no longer than that. So just stem that off. You can burn the ends of this if you're worried about it fraying, but I'm not too worried. I'll show you the 2 ends there just for comparison. That's the end I've just trimmed, that I've not burnt or melted, and that's a melted end. So once you've got your piece of cordage, the next thing you're going to do is tie a knot. I prefer a reef knot. So for any of you that don't know how to tie a reef knot, I'm left-handed, so this is how I do it. So I pass the left working end over the right, fold it round and pull a little bit, and then I pass that same end back on itself and push it through the hole and pull. And there you go. Get your loop you've made, fold it over the ridge line, pull it through. And then you do that again, another 2 or 3 times. It's completely up to you, whatever you think it needs. Pull it tight, and then you just dress the knots, you just tidy it up. You should have something that looks a little bit like that, a little bit like a barrel. If you've done it correctly, you should notice that it slides up and down the ridge line without any tension, but then when you actually pull on it, perpendicular, it doesn't move. You might be thinking, well that's great, thanks for the knot Jess, but how do you attach that to this? What's that all about? Well, just like in a previous video I did, we used a natural object, we used a pine cone to create a tie out. For this one, we're just going to use a stick. Pull the tab of the tarp through, pop your stick in, and that will secure your top to the ridge line, like that. Now, you are able to slide your tarp around, do whatever you like, adjust the tension of your tarp without actually having to touch the ridge line at all. So this is also a really good skill to know, because if you suddenly need to change tarp configuration in the middle of the night for some reason, maybe you've got high winds or you want to drop one side down to give you a little bit of privacy or anything like that, you can simply just pull the toggle out, undo the Prusik. You don't even really need to undo the Prusik, you can just leave it there if you want, but you can just pull the toggle out and readjust your tarp to create a completely different configuration. And I'll just adjust these to pick up my slack, and now we have a completely different configuration. And then if you change your mind and you want it that way again, you can just put it back. So I hope that was of use to some of you. Knots can be quite tricky, and me personally, I learn all my knots, I learnt them sort of 2 or 3 at a time, and in my personal opinion, I find that it's better to learn a handful that you can use all the time than learn loads and loads of complicated ones that you might only use, once in a while, once in a blue moon. I'm not an expert, so that is just my opinion. But yeah, I hope you guys found that useful. But that's all we've got time for just now. If you guys like these tarp videos and you'd like to see a little bit more from me about how I set camps up, how I take camps down, stuff like that, let me know in the comment section. But that's it. So for now, I'll see you in the woods.